Her first book introduced readers to the world of Carrie Bradshaw, which then, of course, spawned the TV series Sex and the City, and 2 blockbuster movies. Now, author Candace Bushnell is back with another novel for fans. Killing Monica follows a 40-something author named Pandy, who can't quite escape her greatest creation and has a falling out with the actress famous for playing her. We welcome Candace Bushnell back to our Canada AM studios. Congratulations on the new book.
Thank you.
It's perfect timing for a summer read.
I really wanted to write something that was like a ride for the reader. Like you open the book and you start reading and it goes like up and down and twists and turns and then you land.
Well, tell me, okay, so when you sit down to write a book like that and you kind of have an idea maybe where you want to go or what kind of a read you want it to be, when you have been as successful as you've been, does that change your writing process when you sit down to write something new?
It actually doesn't.
Good, that's good.
Well, it would be great if it did, but writing a book is still always so hard. You're still always starting at ground zero. And for me, in this book, the character P.J. Wallace, the writer, has written 4 Monica books, and they've become 4 Monica movies. And Monica is this larger-than-life. I mean, she's not really even a character in the book. She's just like something on this huge presence on a billboard. She's always happy, and nothing bad ever happens to Monica. And so
Penny kind of wants to get out from under Monica.
Well, she's written 4 Monica books, and she loves Monica, but she feels like time is running out, and she feels like she needs to try to write something else. And what happens is she gets married, she falls in love, and she falls in love with, I made this guy, Johnny Balaga, literally the worst guy I could think of. People are like, he's so bad. I'm like, I know. He has to be
like a
really
restaurateur, like he doesn't do all that
and
well.
Then, she thinks he has money, and then it turns out that he doesn't, and he wants her to invest in his restaurants. And then he starts losing money, and he starts putting pressure on her. She's got to crank out more Monica books to pay for his debts. And then it turns into a whole kind of crazy.
Yeah, and her friends are crazy. I mean, they're all very interesting.
Her friends are meant to be like Real Housewives.
Yeah. And it's like that when they all get together and they're drinking champagne. And
they're obnoxious, and they're saying sort of obnoxious things, as women will when they let their hair down. I mean, it's all good fun. So the book is really, it's just meant to be a great kind of summer romp.
Yeah. Well, tell me, because I know you get this question all the time, and for Pandy as well, but, are the characters part of the writer? Are the writer part of the characters?
Actually, no. Although when one is writing, you have to feel like the characters. You have to somehow put yourself in their shoes, literally, and feel like what it would be like to be them. So it's really, for the writer, it's probably a little bit more like acting. And in fact, when I write the characters, I do say their dialogue out loud, and then sometimes I'll act out what they're doing.
That's
like
awesome.
If they're running, how does it feel to be running? Which muscles are hurting?
Okay, so at one point, one of the characters asks in the book, can a woman be ambitious without apology? Can a woman dedicate her life to her work without an apology? How do you answer that?
I don't know, and that's why I've asked the question. Yeah. But I think it's the character P.J. Wallace asks a lot of these questions, and she's in a sort of a existential crisis of, meaning and what her life is about. And so she's asking all of these questions, and I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. I think as women, we have so many other commitments in our life as well. We have partners and we have children, and
you probe that a lot. I mean, who is the woman without being part of a couple?
Exactly.
And how does that change?
And we do. Well, I think society defines us a lot in terms of relationships, and you know, I think there's a huge amount of like comfort in relationships, and relationships are fantastic. But you know, the reality is, as a woman, I think your chances of being single at some point in your life are very, very high. Even if you got married at, you know, 23, and you're married forever, you know, something could happen to your husband when you're like 80. So you're going to be single from 80 to 90 or something like that. But these are just questions that I'm always asking. And I'm actually not in a relationship, and haven't been for the last couple of years. And I have spent all of my time working and being creative.
I was going to say.
I have to say I've really, really enjoyed it. But it's not forever. So I feel like I've just took this.
It's just part of the journey.
It's just part of the journey, you know, and so.
That's great. Well, okay, so the name of the book is Killing Monica. Candace Bushnell, of course, thank you so much. Great to have you back on the show.
Thank you.
You'll find, by the way, Killing Monica, that'll be on our iBooks page. Head to itunes.com/CanadaAM. And
I have a line of emojis
to
go with Killing Monica, and they're available at the App Store under Candace Bushnell's Emogination.
Oh, I love it.
So they just went live yesterday.
That's fantastic. Okay, great. We'll take a look at that, and thank you for mentioning it.